You're listening to Autumn on the Air, the weekly podcast that brings you conversations about the impact of research commercialization and the people who make it happen. Join us for interviews with patent and licensing professionals, innovators, entrepreneurs, and tech transfer leaders on the issues and trends that matter most. Keep listening for an inside track on the people, IP policies, and politics changing our world.
Welcome to Autumn on the Air. Today we're taking a fresh look at one of Autumn's most celebrated initiatives, the Better World Project. Several years ago, we explored this vital project that showcases how university research transforms real-world solutions that benefit society. Today we're revisiting this topic with an updated perspective, examining how the project has evolved, grown, and adapted to highlight the incredible innovations emerging from tech transfer offices worldwide. Joining me today are two accomplished professionals who bring unique perspectives to the Better World Project's continued mission. RK Narayanan is the Senior Director of Business Development and Technology Transfer at Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, where he has led strategic partnerships and collaborations since 2017. RK brings a rich background that spans both research and commercialization. He holds a PhD in Molecular and Cellular Biology from the University of Arizona and an MBA from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. His career journey took him from research roles at Harvard Medical School and MIT to technology management at the University of Illinois, where he oversaw more than 200 innovations in the life sciences. RK is passionate about long-term value creation and sustainable relationships in technology transfer, focusing on marketing, licensing, negotiation, and mentorship. Also with us today is Parag Vaskar, Business Development and Licensing Manager for Physical Sciences at Purdue Research Foundation's Office of Technology Commercialization. Parag brings deep technical expertise to his role, holding a BE and ME in metallurgical engineering from Pune University, India, and an MS in material sciences from Vanderbilt University, and a PhD in material sciences from the University of Central Florida. His domain expertise spans material sciences, semiconductors, and photovoltaics. Before joining Purdue, Parag worked across academia and industry, and he now plays a vital role in evaluating the commercial potential of technologies and negotiating license agreements. Notably, Parag currently serves as co-chair of Autumn's Better World Project Committee, giving him intimate knowledge of how this initiative has evolved and expanded. Since our last conversation about the Better World Project, we've seen remarkable growth, from a collection of hundreds of stories to now over 600 innovations showcased, with recent winners including groundbreaking technologies like UMass Amherst's PFAS-destroying water purification system, and innovations ranging from artificial pancreas devices to revolutionary cancer treatments. Welcome to the podcast, RK and Parag. So excited to have you with me on the air.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks for having us.
Hi, Lisa.
So I thought perhaps the best place to kick the podcast off today is to ask the two of you, for our listeners who may not be familiar with the Better World Project, or maybe who didn't hear our discussion about it a few years ago, can you give us an overview of what the Better World Project is and how it's evolved since 2005 when Autumn first launched it?
Lisa, the Better World Project, when it was started 20 years ago, actually was called the Better World Report. At the time, it was a simple printed booklet, just a handful of stories showing how university discoveries were beginning to reach society. Quickly, it moved online, and today, we have got more than 600 searchable stories across health, agriculture, energy, digital technologies, you name it. But what's truly exciting is how it's evolved beyond just a collection of case studies. It's become an advocacy tool for tech transfer offices, a way to show impact to policymakers, and really a celebration of the human side of what we do. Think about examples like the Honeycrisp apple, the N95 mask, or even Google. All of these started in universities. The Better World Project makes that connection visible. It gives us a way to show, in concrete terms, how academic research saves lives, feeds people, and solves real problems.
Lisa, I guess I would also like to point out here that when we started the Better World Project, the vision was much broader rather than just tracking patents or dollars. We really wanted to get to the heart of human stories behind technology transfer. Back in 2005, a big part of why we started was to demonstrate the tangible outcomes of the Bayh-Dole Act. But over the years, this has truly evolved into something much larger. Now is a worldwide showcase of impact. It is no longer about one or two major breakthroughs, but now it's a spectrum which is much wider, from cancer treatments to innovations in sustainable agriculture to digital and AI revolutions. Everything is there. The project has really expanded. Of course, we have the annual awards in our annual meetings, but along with that, we have the videos, the multimedia resources that makes it very easy to pass on these stories. So the ultimate shift from a dozen stories in print to hundreds of stories online really speaks volumes about how much the field has matured and how the universities are genuinely excited to show off the difference that they are making to the world.
Yeah, it really is incredible. 20 years is a long time, but it's really not in some ways. And to go from just a booklet with several stories to over 600 with multimedia presentations and awards, it's truly, truly incredible. And Parag, I want to stick with you for a second because, you're the co-chair, and I'm curious what drew you to this particular aspect of Autumn's work, and how do you think your involvement in the Better World Project has shaped your perspective on tech transfer's societal impact?
That's really a great question, Lisa. For me, it is about connecting the what of my job to the why behind it. I was drawn to the Better World Project because it captures the human side of technology transfer. In technology transfer, we spend a lot of time on the mechanics. We evaluate the inventions, we negotiate licenses, we also manage the IP. And mind you, all this day-to-day work can become really transactional. But after joining the committee almost 5 years ago and now being the co-chair of the Better World Project Committee, it always reminds me that each transaction has a real world beneficiary, whether that's a patient in a hospital, a certain community, or even the environment around us. The Better World Project is where you can really see that transformation. It is our chance to step back and see that full arc of innovation from discovery in the lab to a product that is saving a premature baby or creating a sustainable source of energy. It has really shifted my perspective by reinforcing that the measure of success is not just about financial returns, but rather it is the transformation in the society as an ultimate outcome.
Yeah, it is really amazing when you think about the long, hard journey it is to get something out of the lab to finally becoming a product and having impact. And so it's really having the opportunity to reflect back on that and recognize that, I think, is really important. And RK, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, which, the Better World Project has grown from dozens to over 600 innovation stories now. I'm curious for you, what does this expansion tell us about the maturation of tech transfer and our field's ability to demonstrate this real world impact?
Lisa, when you grow from just a handful of stories to more than 600, it shows something fundamental has shifted. Technology transfer has matured from being seen mostly as a transactional activity, like filing patents, signing licenses, to being recognized as a driver of real-world outcomes that institutions are eager to share. What's enabled that shift, Lisa, I think, is the realization that showing impact isn't just nice to have anymore. It's essential for securing funding and public support. We are no longer measuring success just in dollars. We are measuring it in healthier patients, cleaner water, and stronger communities. So I think it's fantastic that so many offices are contributing now with their stories. To me, that shows we are getting more comfortable and confident with telling our stories in a way that the public can really connect with. It's not just about our field growing up, Lisa. It's about us truly embracing our purpose of connecting research to societal benefit, I think.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I had Kate Zernike from the New York Times on about 2 weeks ago, and one of her comments was that academic research needs to do a better job of getting their stories out and the impact so the public can understand that better. And I think the Better World Project really helps with that and is really a tremendous resource for bridging that gap, which is what Kate talked about during that interview. I want to talk about the Better World Project Awards. And Parag, you've mentioned that a little bit earlier. Can you walk us through the process for applying for the awards and maybe share with us a little bit about UMass Amherst's PFAS water purification technology and what made it stand out as the winner for 2025?
Back in 2020, we launched the Better World Project Award with a simple goal to celebrate the innovations that do more than just succeed commercially. We wanted to spotlight the tech transfer stories that are truly changing the society for better. So how does this work? To be considered for the Better World Project story, the story needs to have a real-world momentum. So we look for progress in areas like licensing, industry-academia collaboration, commercialization, along with a major milestone after 2019. For the upcoming cycle, we will be accepting entries until October 15th. So once we receive the entries, our committee carefully reviews each and every submission before the top 3 are put to vote by autumn community for the autumn community. And sometimes the public gets to weigh in too. The winner is announced and celebrated at our autumn annual conference. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our 18-member global volunteer community, of which you are also a part, Lisa, and also to our autumn staff liaison, Megan, for their outstanding commitment and contributions to this effort. Last year in 2025, UMass Amherst Octa system stood out decisively at winner. It was a standout for several reasons. As you know, PFAS or PFAS are toxic chemicals in water and soil, and they can be a serious health hazard, posing threats like cancer. So instead of just filtering this chemical, what the innovative system does is that it uses an electrochemical process to permanently destroy them. It breaks the harmful chemical bonds for good. And fortunately, this incredible technology has not just remained in the confines of a lab. Now there is a startup which was created in 2017, and they have already raised an impressive 20 million in venture capital. The company has been named among top 100 green tech companies by Time magazine. So all these factors, a combination of global relevance, deep science, commercialization success, and broad recognition made UMass Amherst Octa system a standout 2025 winner.
So can you share a little bit maybe how the judging criteria for the Better World Project has evolved over time in terms of relevance, impact, and collaboration? And also, can you share with us a little bit of exactly like what you're looking for in submissions that truly exemplify the Better World mission?
While the core pillars of relevance, impact, and collaboration have remained the same, our interpretation of these pillars has slightly broadened. So, in early days, the impact might have been more heavily weighted towards a major commercial success or a blockbuster drug. But today, we are taking a much more holistic view. What we are looking for impact is all these forms. It could be an agricultural technique that improves food security for a small community. It could be an educational software that closes the learning gaps, or it could be a policy innovation that improves the public health. When we look for these projects, we are really searching for that aha moment, a narrative that ties everything together. We want to know what the problem was, how smart the solution was, and what the real world or hands-on benefit was. So a perfect story is the one where you can clearly see how a researcher's curiosity has directly impacted someone's life.
That's really helpful. Thank you for sharing the Parag. And RK, I want to turn back to you now for a second, because I know your work focuses on long-term value creation. Share with us, if you wouldn't mind, how the Better World Project helps tell these deeper impact stories that go beyond traditional licensing revenue and commercialization metrics.
Lisa, licensing revenue is important, of course, but it's really one piece of the story. What the Better World Project does so well is capture the long-term value of technology transfer, the kind of impact that plays out over years, sometimes even decades. Think about the artificial pancreas you mentioned in the intro. It was not an overnight success, but today it's transforming how people with diabetes live their daily lives. Or take the PFAS water purification Parag just mentioned. Its true worth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in cleaner water for generations. Traditional metrics can't capture that kind of transformation. You can't put a price tag on a child with diabetes being able to live normally, or on families finally having safe drinking water. That's where the Better World Project shines. By showing why patient capital and long-term investment matter, and reminding stakeholders that some of the most important breakthroughs take time to reveal their full potential. And that's why these stories matter. They remind us that technology transfer isn't about just transactions, it's about transformations.
The two of you mentioned several times that the Better World Project stories span everything from medical devices to sustainable agriculture to consumer products. How do you ensure that the project represents the full spectrum of university innovation, even those that maybe come from underrepresented areas?
Yes, representation is key. What makes the Better World Project so powerful is that it truly lives up to its name. It's about the better world. We are not just highlighting blockbuster drugs, as Parag mentioned. We are telling stories about sustainable agriculture, helping farmers in developing countries, renewable energy emerging from smaller universities, and even consumer products that quietly make everyday life better. A great example, I'll tell you. 2 years ago, a technology from Pakistan's National University of Science and Technology won the Better World Project Award. They submitted the story of ECHO, a vibrational wave therapy device for conditions like cerebral palsy and autism. Out of the 40 or so stories we reviewed in 2023, that one really stood out. We're also actively reaching out to regional universities, international partners, and smaller schools because their innovations matter just as much as the breakthroughs from the big universities and research centers. We have showcased water purification systems from rural communities, agricultural advances from land-grant institutions transforming local farming, and digital health tools from teaching-focused universities. When you all line these stories up, Lisa, you see the true global reach of university research. And that diversity is what makes the Better World Project so powerful. It's proof that transformative innovation happens everywhere.
I think that's an amazing point. It really does happen everywhere. And I love the diversity of the Better World Project. And it's just not US centric, it's innovation and impact anywhere in the world. So thank you for sharing that. And, I think where we really saw the Better World Project really highlight a lot of really good advances was during the pandemic, because the pandemic really demonstrated how critical the role of university research was in addressing a global challenge. And share with us a little bit about how the Better World Project captured the rapid innovations that happened during this time and what lessons we learned about accelerated tech transfer.
I actually joined the Better World Project committee. I'll start from the I actually joined the Better World Project committee just after the height of the pandemic, Lisa. So I had the unique perspective of seeing how we captured those innovations almost in real time. What stood out was how universities suddenly bypassed the usual lengthy processes. They were sharing research openly, collaborating across institutions, and working directly with manufacturers in ways that may have usually taken years. The stories we documented really tell that tale. Rapid diagnostic tests developed in weeks instead of months. Open source ventilator designs shared globally within days. PPE solutions coming out of engineering labs. And of course, the foundational vaccine technologies that had been decades in the making, but were deployed at lightning speed when the world needed them. So looking back, the most striking lesson, I think, is how quickly universities and tech transfer offices could pivot under pressure. We found ways to maintain quality while removing bottlenecks we once thought were essential. And the takeaway is very clear. When urgency and collaboration drive us, we can move at the pace global challenges demand. So this is where the lesson is. Whether it's the next pandemic, climate change, or food security, we need to be showing urgency and collaboration.
Absolutely. Now, Parag, I want to turn back to you because you've talked a little bit about the written case studies and videos and multimedia content. And that's been really interesting because RK mentioned how when the Better World Project started, it was a booklet, and now it's truly evolved into multiple different formats. Share with us a little bit about how this evolution has changed how the Better World Project engages with audiences and helps to tell these impact stories.
Lisa, as you're aware, over the past several years, Better World Project storytelling has evolved from mere case studies to videos, animations, and social media campaigns. So this has really broadened our audience. What multimedia does is that it allows us to show the emotion, the context, and the scale behind the stories. And it creates a deeper level of engagement, a real connection with people. So this shift really matters because whether it is the policymakers or general public, everyone engages more with the visual content. When you can see an inventor in their lab or hear the testimony of a patient whose life was recently saved and see the groundbreaking technology working in real world, it creates an immediate emotional connection. What multimedia has done is that it has also allowed the tech transfer offices to use these Better World stories for their own marketing efforts and for their own fundraising efforts.
So, Parag, I want to ask you about submission and accessibility for the Better World Project. Are there any barriers that tech transfer offices face when submitting these stories? And I'm thinking in particular, maybe smaller offices or newer offices with just a few people. And how is the committee working to address this and maybe make the process a little bit more inclusive?
That's a great question, Lisa. And as a committee, we often think of these barriers and the strategies to overcome those. So barriers could be limited staff, lack of marketing expertise, not knowing how to frame a story, and smaller offices may often be intimidated and they might feel that the innovations are too niche. There could be a perception that only big wins matter. So we are really working to demystify that perception. Autumn staff also offers editorial support. Our team works with everyone to polish their stories and to fill in the gaps. We often encourage submit early and submit often. I would like to tell here that even niche stories matter because, taken as a whole, they illustrate the diverse contribution of academic research.
Now, Parag, I want to stick with you here for a second as one of the co-chairs. Share with us what your vision is for the Better World Project over the next 5 years or so, and what new directions or initiatives maybe is the committee thinking in terms of continuing to evolve the program?
My vision and collectively our vision as a committee is threefold. First is global reach. We want to expand the database with the stories from Asia, Africa, and Latin America so that we ensure that voices from every corner of the world are represented. The committee has already grown to 18 members, including 3 international volunteers from South America, Europe, and Australia, which is a strong foundation to deepen this global engagement. Second point is the sector breadth. Featuring a wide range of innovations in physical sciences, artificial intelligence, biotechnology, sustainability, and social sciences, along with our traditional strengths such as medical, clean tech, and agriculture. Our story categories have been broadened to better reflect all these evolving research landscapes. And last but not the least is the advocacy strength, equipping the technology transfer offices with toolkits and story packages they can use locally with their university leadership, their local legislators, and also for the public. The Better World Project has always been impact beyond dollars. And I want it to serve as an advocacy platform that makes the societal value of technology transfer clear, compelling, and shareable. Looking ahead, I would also like to see the interactive mapping where audiences can explore the stories by region and sector, creating a more dynamic experience for stakeholders. The broader goal here is to make the Better World Project an inclusive, intuitive, and globally resonant platform.
I want to go back to something about advocacy that you just mentioned, Parag, and turn to RK. You know, these are challenging times right now. There are research funding challenges. Tell us, how can the Better World Project serve as this advocacy tool that Parag just mentioned to demonstrate the value of university research to policymakers as well as the public?
We are living in a moment when even the value of basic research is being questioned, and stakeholders want to know what's the return on investment. The beauty of the Better World Project, I think, is that it answers that question not with abstract numbers, but with stories. A story about a medical device that changes a patient's life, or a clean water technology that transforms a community. Those are things anyone can understand. Storytelling takes up the complex and makes it human. It puts a face on the abstract concept. So when a university president testifies before Congress, or when we are writing grant applications, we are able to point to the 600 plus real examples of impact. That gives us credible evidence that resonates far beyond traditional metrics. And that's what makes Better World Project such a powerful advocacy tool. It reminds the public and the people who fund our work that research matters because it touches lives in ways that last generations.
Absolutely. And I also wanted to ask as a follow-up kind of question to that, how is the Better World Project adapting to showcase emerging technologies like AI, which is all over the place right now, while also highlighting innovations that address critical issues like climate change and global health?
And that's a great question, Lisa. The Better World Project has always been about capturing stories that matter. And we are actively adapting to capture both cutting-edge technologies and solutions to humanity's biggest challenges. As Parag mentioned, we have expanded our categories and outreach to ensure we are showcasing the full spectrum of innovation coming out of universities today. We are already seeing fascinating stories about AI-powered drug discovery platforms that accelerate pharmaceutical development, machine learning tools that help predict climate impacts, and digital health solutions reaching underserved populations globally. And so what's really exciting is these emerging AI-powered technologies often serve as force multipliers for addressing traditional challenges. So AI isn't just replacing AI is not going to replace what universities do best. It's strengthening our impact on climate resilience, global health, and also sustainability. So take climate change, for example. We are documenting everything from carbon capture technologies developed at engineering schools to agriculture innovations from land-grant universities that help farmers adapt to changing conditions locally. In global health, we are seeing telemedicine platforms, diagnostic devices for resource-limited settings, and vaccine technologies that can respond to emerging threats. The Better World Project is evolving along with the research landscape, but it will only be as good as the stories we receive. So here's the invitations to the wider world. Whether you are seeing AI accelerate breakthrough discoveries, or climate innovations emerging from your labs, or global health solutions reaching new populations, please submit those stories. It doesn't matter if you're at a big institution like MIT or a small university in Australia. Show the world how academic innovation continues to rise to meet our greatest challenges.
And I'm going to follow on that, RK, because in addition to submitting stories, if people listening to this podcast want to volunteer or use some of these resources, tell us what's the best first steps.
Don't overthink it. Just submit a story. Even if you think it's a small breakthrough, you'll be surprised how powerful it can be for someone else. And a quick heads up, the deadline is October 15th. So please do it soon. You can find all the submission guidelines on the AUTM website. And when you're writing, be sure to focus on the human impact rather than just the technical details, please. We want stories from every corner of the world, from institutions big and small, because together they show the true breadth of our impact. And as for volunteering, Lisa, as you know, and as Parag mentioned, we are fortunate that the committee is currently full, but new spots will open up at the next AUTM annual meeting in Seattle. In the meantime, you can use the stories we have already published in your own advocacy and share them in your social networks. Every contribution, whether it's a single story or helping amplify someone else's story, strengthens the Better World Project and our profession as a whole.
Now, the two of you are just incredibly passionate about the Better World Project. It's in great hands with the two of you. But I do want to take a moment to ask each of you, is there a particular story from this amazing 600 story collection that has personally inspired each of you? And what do you think it represents about the power of tech transfer?
Lisa, thanks for that question. The story that most personally inspired me from the Better World Project collection is actually one that led me to write a Better World Project story myself, along with my colleague, Betsy Han, in 2021. is the development of the ASO drug Spinraza right here at Cold Spring Harbor. When I first learned about Dr. Adrian Krainer's work, I was struck by how it perfectly exemplifies what we celebrate in the Better World Project. Dr. Krainer spent 15 years doing basic research on RNA splicing, a fundamental science with no specific application in mind. This work even built on Nobel Prize-winning discoveries from years earlier, right here at Cold Spring Harbor. But here's where what truly inspired me to document this story: the beautiful connection between basic research and life-saving medicine. Once Dr. Krainer understood the mechanisms of RNA splicing, he could envision how to fix the genetic defect causing spinal muscular atrophy, the leading genetic cause of infant mortality until 2016, when the FDA approved Spinraza. The magic truly happened through technology transfer. So that's another key thing for me. The partnership between Cold Spring Harbor and Ionis Pharmaceuticals created a decade-long sponsored research and collaboration where academic expertise met industry capabilities. This wasn't just licensing intellectual property, Lisa. It was a sustained partnership through mouse models, clinical trials, and finally, FDA approval. When I first heard this story, I knew it had to be part of the Better World Project collection because it demonstrates so powerfully how technology transfer transforms university discoveries into solutions that literally save lives. And that is exactly the kind of impact we are documenting here in the Better World Project.
Lisa, for me, there are several inspiring stories. Personally, I think I really connect with the Allegra story the most because I have benefited from it. And coincidentally, it is also the story which has received highest views on our multimedia digital database. It came out of a research lab in Georgetown University. And today, Allegra is one of the most popular antihistamines in the world. It has really proved a boon to improve the quality of life for those with serious allergies. It serves as a reminder that even ordinary consumer products initially started out in a laboratory. Apart from this story, there are several COVID-era stories that inspire me because, as RK mentioned earlier, they showed that how global tech transfer could really adapt when needed and act at speed and scale.
Now, as the podcast comes to a close, I wanted to ask the two of you, looking at nearly 20 years of the Better World Project, what do you hope its lasting legacy will be, and how can our community continue to build on this incredible foundation?
Lisa, I'd love for the Better World Project to be remembered as the initiative that reframed technology transfer. For me, the essence of technology transfer is taking an idea from the lab and turning it into something that has a direct, meaningful impact on people's lives. We have shifted the conversation from how much did this generate to whose life did this improve?
Personally, I see the Better World Project as this amazing platform that unites our global community with a common goal. It has really become more than just a collection of stories. Now it's a genuine movement. I really hope that the future technology transfer professionals will explore this archive and realize that their job is much bigger than just managing IP. They are helping to push human progress forward.
I will say also celebrate all success stories, large and small. And please contribute to the Better World Project archive. Our current submission deadline is October 15th. Help us continue documenting how university discoveries become solutions that make life better.
So here is how we build on this foundation. Be relentless storytellers. Don't wait for the annual call of submissions. Make impact storytelling a core competency of your office. Celebrate every success, big or small. The foundation has been laid and the archive is rich. Now, our job is to continue to build on it. Submitting to the Better World Project ensures that the success stories are not lost, but rather they are amplified to inspire, to advocate, and to celebrate. The more we contribute, the stronger the case for why technology transfer matters to the society.
And I think that's a fantastic way to end this episode of a revisit of the Better World Project. Thank you, RK. Thank you, Parag, for joining us today. This has been a fascinating and really wonderful discussion. Really appreciate you taking the time and sharing your expertise.
Thank you, Lisa. Greatly enjoyed this.
Thank you, Lisa.
That wraps up our updated look at the AUTM Better World Project with RK and Parag. It's remarkable to see how this initiative has grown from a handful of stories to a comprehensive database of over 600 innovations that truly demonstrate how university research makes the world a better place. As RK and Parag have shown us today, the Better World Project has evolved far beyond a simple collection of case studies. It's become a powerful advocacy tool, an educational resource, and a celebration of the collaborative spirit that drives successful tech transfer. From PFAS-destroying water treatments to life-saving medical devices to sustainable agricultural innovations, these stories remind us why our work matters. The project's emphasis on relevance, impact, and collaboration reflects the core values of our profession, ensuring that the groundbreaking research doesn't remain in the laboratory, but reaches the people who need it the most. Whether it's through the annual Better World Project Award, multimedia storytelling, or the growing international participation, this initiative continues to elevate the visibility and understanding of tech transfer's societal impact. For our listeners inspired by today's discussion, I encourage you to visit autumn.net/betterworldproject to explore the full collection of stories, learn about the submission guidelines, and discover how you can contribute to this vital showcase of innovation. The 2026 Better World Project Award submissions are already being accepted, and your innovation story could be the next to inspire others and demonstrate the transformative power of university research. Remember, every story in the Better World Project represents countless hours of research, collaboration, negotiation, and dedication from tech transfer professionals like you. These aren't just tales of scientific achievement. They're testimonies to the human impact of our profession and the bridges we build between academic discovery and real-world solutions. Thank you for joining us on Autumn on the Air. We'll be back next week with another conversation about the people, policies, and innovations shaping research commercialization. Until then, keep making the world a better place through tech transfer.
Thanks for listening to Autumn on the Air with Lisa Mueller. Get social with us and share your thoughts. You can tweet us at AUTM or visit us online at autm.net. We'll be back next week on the air. Be sure to join us.